They say that these are the days of smartphones and dumb people. I tend to disagree. No, not in Dhaka. Urban Dhaka is full of smart people, very smart people. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about them. Smart people are people on the move. People in a rush to get somewhere. That's probably me and my friends. In a rush to get somewhere. And as Muzammil showed it, the roads were blocked. And we did what was the smartest thing to do. We took over the sidewalks. That's probably my wife and her friend. They are also in a hurry to get somewhere. And they're crossing the streets where they were not supposed to. And sometimes, out there on the streets, me and my wife get to meet. And it's always not a happy coincidence. Then there are the smarter people. Smarter people are also people on the move, trying to get somewhere. But on the way, they try to make some gains, to profit, if you like. And these people are most visible not on the streets, but on the buildings, right adjacent to it. Smarter people know the value of land in the city, and they want to make good use of every square inch of it. Smarter people, when they build buildings on it, tend to forget that there are rules that require you have to have open spaces, you have to have this much gap between your buildings in order to allow privacy, in order to allow fresh air, daylight, in order to allow the rainwater to reach the groundwater tables, recharge the groundwater tables. But when we, my wife and I again, decided to make our own building, we realized that we needed that extra veranda, that extra space added to the bedroom, added to the toilet, to the kitchen. And we took over the gaps. We were only trying to make our lives better. We needed that extra space for the treadmill that we have, for the washing machine that we want to place, and very recently, the bicycle that we had to buy our son, thanks to Muzammil. So, what about airflow? Well, we will have air conditioners eventually in all our rooms. What about daylight? We have these energy-saving bulbs installed in all our rooms also. They're green. And what about privacy? Privacy? Aren't we all in Facebook? Well, thank you. Tawhid says, I've got only 12 minutes. Well, at that point of time, I thought this was as good as it gets. But I was wrong, gladly. I learned that there exists a group of smartest people, and I joined them soon. Smartest people are the people who are already there, who have made it big. How big? This big. 15, 18, and 22-storied buildings on the priciest piece of land in this city, on Gulshan Avenue. All three had permissions to be 9-storied only. But I decided to add more floors on top of them, and make them higher. So high that now even the hands of law cannot reach them. Probably Wasfia Nazreen can, but not Rajuk. Thank you. Now, if anyone here in this room still doubts that what I did with the buildings was not the smartest thing to do, here is a quick calculation. In these three buildings, the number of extra floors that I added is 31. The number of extra area that I gained is more than 334,000 square feet. And on Gulshan Avenue, going by the present rates at the rate of average 20,000 taka per square feet, this would be valued approximately at a staggering 669 crore Dhaka. That's more than $8 million US for you. And sometimes I would want to take this $8 million figure higher. And it's easy to do so. One way of doing it is to do buildings in a manner, construct buildings in a manner where they actually cost less. That's also easy. I engage cheap labor, cheap supervisors, people who have hardly any idea what they're doing in a construction site. I use cheaper, substandard materials, and I use less materials, far less than what was prescribed by the structural engineers. And I rent out these less costly buildings to heavy-duty industrial buildings, the ready-made garments factories. Factories having thousands of people, factories having heavy machineries, generators, overhead water reservoirs, tons of raw fabric, finished goods, all elements having huge structural load. And sometimes these buildings will just give in. In Rana Plaza, 1,131 persons died, 261 officially missing. The largest building-related disaster, second only to September 11 World Trade Center collapse. It was revealed later that the owner actually had permission to build a 6-storied building, a commercial one, office and shops. He originally engaged a real estate company. But as soon as the construction reached the first floor, that company, along with the architects and engineers who designed that 6-storied building, were forced out of the project, and the owner took over the construction himself. And he kept on adding floors. On April 24, 2013, there were 7 factories in the building, 1 bank, 1 shopping mall, 1 telecom tower, and 5,500 persons. Nobody was watching. This is Rana Plaza building, as it used to be. Was there anyone who was supposed to watch? Yes, more than one. The Savar Poroshobha, which actually gave the permission of this building to be a 6-storied one. Although at the very first place, it had no business in giving permission to a building that is located within Rajuk territory. But since it did anyway, it also had the obligation to ensure that this building was built and used the way it was approved. Obviously, Savar Poroshobha was looking away. The construction started 8 years ago. And at the time of collapse, this building was fully functional within Rajuk territory without Rajuk permission. Obviously, Rajuk also was looking away. All the factories in the building, all of them had BGMEA licenses. BGMEA, with its own building, an illegal one, standing tall in a flood flow zone in the middle of Dhaka city, they were not worried that this building was not supposed to have factories in it. These factories had gas and power connections. Obviously, the gas and power authorities did not think it was any problem to have factories in these buildings. So people weren't watching. And does it stop with the gas authorities? No. The factories had certifications from Factory Inspection Department, from the Directorate of Environment, from the Fire Service Department. They all had customs and bond licenses. And finally, last but not least, there were the dollar guys, the buyers, with the long compliance checklists. Nobody was watching. So why? The question is, why weren't they watching? Because probably there are smart peoples in those agencies too. Smart peoples who, by looking away from errant buildings, maybe stands to gain something out of it. There was this survey very recently titled Obstacles to Doing Business in Bangladesh, or something like that, obstacles, or something like that. And it asked 175 real estate companies if they pay bribe to Rajuk in order to get their plans approved. 97.5% answered with an overwhelming yes. It's probably the same with all the government agencies. It's easy, but very unfair to blame the government agencies alone. Rajuk is helplessly susceptible to political and government influences. So is the Purashobha. Rajuk is ruinously short of manpower. Only 40 inspectors to oversee 1.2 million buildings in a city of 1,528 square kilometers. The factory inspection department has only 19 inspectors, 9 for Dhaka, 10 for the rest of the country, to oversee 242,000 factories. And add to that, us, the smart guys, our own tendency to flout the law in the streets, within the buildings, while running factories, endangering people's lives, ruining environment, and ruining the cities. So are we doomed? Probably yes. Unless we decide to change ourselves. Change ourselves to the extent where flouting the law in the streets, with the buildings, and in running factories is not appreciated, but considered as despicable, uncivilized acts by dumb people. Change ourselves to the extent where these despicable, uncivilized acts are not overlooked, but punished instantly by the people in charge. Will this change happen? Again, depends on us. But there's a lot of change happening at many fronts after Rana Plaza. Rajuk is increasing its manpower significantly. 20 new authorized officers, 4 new zones, 288 new inspectors. The factory inspection department is increasing its manpower 9-fold to 3,000. The number of inspectors will go up to 600 from the present figure of 19. The ILO has started a $1 million capacity building fund to train a wide variety of people, from factory workers to structural engineers. International and national labor unions are working on a plan to drafting a plan for factory inspection. 20 international North American retailers are working on similar plans, and efforts are underway to bring them together in a common platform. BGMEA, after the Rana Plaza incident, has so far suspended 160 of its members for running factories in unsafe manner. Professor Mohammad Yunus is working on GITI, the government's industry transparency initiative, and the Happy Workers tag. The Institute of Architects, on its part, is working with Rajuk in finding out effective ways to ensure the enforcement of building codes during a construction and to ensure quality during construction. As Bill Lawry, the late cricket commentator, would have said, it's all happening. But out there in the middle, it all comes back to us. We can tempt these new inspectors into looking away. These new inspectors, on their part, can twist our arms and force us into tempting them. And it will all come down to zero. Years ago, someone wrote these Bangla lines: Lobhe pap, pape mrittu. Greed is sin, and sin kills. I'm sure it was not Nostradamus, but someone equally clairvoyant. It all came true in Rana Plaza. Because buildings do not kill. It's our greed. This comprehensive disaster management program, CDMP, identified 78,000 buildings as very risky, which will collapse as soon as an earthquake of 6 magnitude happens in this country. The Factories Inspection Department and the Fire Service identified 943 factory buildings as very risky among the 3,147 they surveyed. Rajuk says that between 10,000 to 50,000 buildings in this city are illegal, and 150 of them may collapse anytime and should be demolished at this moment. Who made these buildings? You, me, the guy on your right, the guy sitting on your left, collectively, us, we made this building. At this point of time, we need to redefine smartness and get the greed factor out of it. We have to get rid of greed. Get rid of greed. Get rid of greed. It rhymes perfectly, but it's easier said than done. We all know who this guy is. Michael Douglas, right? Can anyone say which movie is this from? Wall Street. Did I hear anyone saying Basic Instinct? In a way, that is also true. Greed is a basic instinct. In the 1987 Oliver Stone movie, Douglas played the role of corporate trader Gordon Gekko. And Gekko made this famous or infamous speech that glorified greed into immortalized levels. After Rana Plaza, it is about time that we rephrase this speech. Greed is never good. Greed is wrong. Greed does not work. Greed stabs, cuts through, and wounds the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed, in all of its forms, has disrupted the upward surge of mankind. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.